Happy New Year. It's Lee. Welcome to Our Kids Play Hockey. First episode of 2023. We're in the 20s. That's weird to say. Today's episode, we're going over some quick tips on kind of how to hit the reset button entering the year if you need to. And in this episode, we dove into some great topics. Obviously, some just quick tips and tactics about just some things you can change right away at the beginning of the year to kind of get going. But also a great conversation about just, mental fortitude, end of the year banquets, coaches this time of year, how you can affect play, parents, how you can affect play. So it's a really timely episode for the start of the year. And again, we just want to thank all of you for being such a great listening audience. We continue to grow. If you listened to our last episode, the stats that we had were just fantastic about being all over the world. We attribute that to you. The three of us talk, but you got to listen. You choose to do that, and it means a lot to us. Also, we've decided that the holiday deals that we had on the website, we're just going to keep them up because so many people love them. So ourkidsplayhockey.com, you'll see kind of a deals section on there. We'll keep them year round for this audience because you're so loyal to us. We wanted to be loyal to you. So if you're ever in the need of a gift or you just want to see what we have up there, check it out, ourkidsplayhockey.com. But without further ado, here's the three of us with our start of the year episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hello, hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome to 2023. Happy New Year to our entire audience, whether this is your first show or your 100th show or anywhere in between. Thank you for being here today. We got a great topic to kick off the year. Thought up by our very own Christie Burns, who's joining me, by the way, with Mike Benelli. I forgot to introduce us. I'm Lee Elias. And we're going to be talking today about kind of resetting. This time of year is an interesting one. You're kind of at mid-season, probably a little bit after that. New year, new me. You guys hear this all the time, right? In hockey, this is a great time to kind of just review where you're at for the season. Many teams have probably gone through a mid-season lull at this point. You may have been off for a few weeks. You might have had 600 tournament games over the last few weeks. Either way, it's a great time to reset. And like I said, our best friend in the world here, Christie Burns, came to us today and said, this is a topic we need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna again sauce the puck over to you, Christie, to kind of bring us in.
And another reason why motivated me is I was in a hockey game yesterday, and a lot of us moms were griping about things that we didn't do, we should have done, wish we had done this. So it got me thinking, this is a great time, new year. You can hit the reset button, or, like I like to say, get out your own personal mini Zamboni and resurface all those rough patches and start fresh. One of the things I heard complaints about is lack of organization. I wish I had gotten to more practices on times. I don't have a good schedule. I'm just really off. All right, that's an easy one to fix. Right. Set your alarm a few minutes earlier. When I had a friend, I think they were about 10 years old. Her daughter was really slow in getting dressed and getting ready for the games. They were always late.
Right.
So I said to her, hey, let's do the buddy system. I'm going to pick you up before the game. That way, she's got to be ready. The pressure's on her.
I like
Plus,
that.
she has a new incentive. Oh, I want to ride with Sophia. So that they were never late. And then she got into the good habit of making sure they were.
What age was this?
Of it.
What age were they when
she was 10?
Wow.
Yeah, okay, she was 10. And she just had a hard time getting her up, getting her, her gear together, getting her out the door, late. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, let's fix this. So we worked on that together. It worked beautifully.
Christie, I'll tell you. This one's making me think, because I remember last season with my son, he was having a hard time getting up, and I kind of kept saying, like, why is he taking so long to get up?
Right.
And then it hit me like a ton of bricks in the face. It was like, it's not his fault. It's my fault, right? Because I'm not getting up early enough, and I'm not waking up. I'm waking up at the what's good for me, basically, because as adults, we can get out pretty quickly. So this kind of quick reminder, I had to be accountable to myself a little bit. No, I need to wake up early. But I love that buddy system idea.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want to ride with Sophia? If she was here right now, we would take the car ride with her.
Right. And the pressure was on, and she didn't want to be embarrassed in front of us, not be ready on time and not make, her best friend, Sophia, she wanted to impress her. Look at me, I'm all ready.
Right.
So the buddy system can work in those instances. Mike, you got any ideas about as far as, getting to those games and practices on time?
Mike just leaves his kid at home. What are you talking about? If he's not up at time.
Forget about it. You're missing
find a way
practice.
To get to the rink
Deal
yourself.
with it.
Yeah. Oh, I pulled out of the driveway many times and just come back around the block and be like, well, he's out. What?
That's good.
I could I
like
visual,
that.
I got a
I think
visual
it'll-
you smiling and your SUV like
That tough love. I
I'm
love
like,
it.
come on, get up, let's go. I think
Yeah.
I think it's all if your son and daughter don't want to get up, can't get up, have no interest in getting up, then maybe they just got to do something else. I think it's I think it's hard because we all expect the kids, we expect 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds to just like be like super motivated,
Yeah.
self-sufficient, they got to get up and go.
Yeah.
And it's just that, if that's not what they're used to all week, why do we expect it to happen on Saturday morning, I guess? So it's just, I think to Lee's point, maybe get up a little earlier, maybe make a better plan, and then be consistent. Like if whatever your plan is to get to school in the morning, kind of have the same routine, right? Because I think, getting kids out of bed and feeding them some morning oats and asking them to suck down an orange juice and jump in the car. We don't do that in school, right? So, and then all of a sudden, like on the weekends, and that would be the the biggest complaint too, on the opposite side, right? As parents like, oh my God, we always have to get up early. And well, you don't have to do this, but you're choosing to do it. So then make it a better environment. And then the biggest, and like for me, it's always the constant reminder of put your stuff out, have your equipment out, lay out your underwear and your long johns and your sweatpants, whatever you're going to wear in the next morning, have it all there ready to go.
Yeah.
You're not looking for things and stubbing your toes and waking up the rest of the house. So
right.
I think it's
and think about that. If you're the person who, you're last minute, then do stuff the night before, make it easy for you, pack, make a pre-breakfast. So you just heat it up in the microwave, get the gear ready, have everything organized, go gas up your car before you have to, drive.
Well, the cool thing is we've all gone through the holidays now, right? And we've all hopefully a lot of these kids have gotten a lot of cool gifts and a lot of presents and maybe a new alarm clock or something. But I think it's, but a lot of the things we see now is all about, the new year organizing your life. So take advantage of those opportunities and say, oh, you know what? I could use a couple of, pre-made meal boxes and maybe I could buy a pre-made, have it in the cupboard, just a bunch of morning shakes that I don't have to really do anything with, but shake up and take with me. And there's like I said, we have the so many resources out there for us to make this transit, and that's the one thing when kids, and that's what I found the most is the transitions. It's going from this to that.
Yeah, that's hard.
Which children
that's hard. Yeah.
Fight. Yeah. And then, and then you get them there and then they can't fight to get them out of there to go to the other transition.
Some of them go beyond fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I've watched kids just lay on the floor in the rink. Like I will not go anywhere. And then now you're getting madder and then the kid's getting more frustrated and you're getting madder and now you're embarrassed. So it's just, a lot of it can be solved by, just preparation.
Mike's having flashbacks right now, Christie.
And a routine.
I can see it in your face, Mike. You're like, yeah, sometimes just sit in the rink and lay down.
All those images are popping.
Well, listen, I think the problem is, as a hockey director, one of the things that you never appreciated, I don't think, when I was a 23-year-old running a hockey program was like me scheduling 8U practices at 7:30. Like, well, of course, 8U at 7:30 is perfect, isn't it? And then every parent looking at me like, "Are you insane? Like this is the worst thing you can do
Mike.
for us." Yeah, and
Mike,
now I fight that the most. I'm like, "Oh my God, 7 o'clock. This is terrible for parents."
I like those early, because then you have the rest of the day. It's not wasted waiting around.
You can spin it any way you want, Chris. You can spin it any way you want. 7:30 is 7:30.
I'll say two things here real quick.
I like 7:30. The other thing I want everyone just to think about is this is the time of year when the hockey gear really stinks up the car and smells up the place, right?
Yeah.
So if you haven't done this yet, get organized with your gear. You cannot leave gear in the bag. You can't, because that's what causes the odor.
And bacteria. It's unhealthy.
And bacteria.
Yeah, it's very unhealthy.
I can't wait to send you guys my new air drying system I made over the break with a boot and glove dryer and some PVC piping and an old locker we had. Oh, I made a whole new system because I couldn't take my teenagers' equipment being in the house anymore. It has to be in the garage, and it's like this has to go in the garage. So we have to have a better system, a heating system, because it's not going to ever dry. Because now you're on the ice.
Benelli blow drying solution.
It's unbelievable. I took Lee's drying stick and I kind of I re-engineered it so that
now you have to send it to us.
So the stuff can hang up and dry with air, and not to get the rocket, dryer and all this other stuff. I just said I have a space, I have a stinky teenager.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a solution here, and now the only one and I don't keep my car in the garage. My wife does, so now she's the one that has to deal with it.
And another thing, Mike, listen, parents,
we
listen.
stopped using our garage years ago because of all the stinky gear. Yeah,
parents,
but you need to give step-by-step instructions and a whole episode on how to create our own system.
Here's a real quick one too, Christy, is bathtub, cup of Tide, put the equipment in there, let it sit for 30 minutes. The water will be disgusting. Drain it, fill it up again, rinse. It's 1 hour of your life. The stink will be gone for at least one practice.
Until they put it back in the bag.
No, it's important just to clean it, just to get the bacteria out, because there is a lot of stuff that
especially the gloves. The gloves are the worst. Don't let them sit in the bag wet. Oh my gosh.
Don't let any of your gear sit wet. Parents, listen.
True.
I'm gonna say it like this. I've from day one made my son and my daughter take their gear out of the bag. It's part of the process. When we get home, you take your gear out. And I'll tell you what, it reduces the stench by at least 80-90% at their age. Again, Mike's right. You get to the teenage years, things are a little different. I'll give you that one. But yeah, you got to dry your equipment. You got to get your kids up early. Mike, you did say earlier, I wanted to say this. And again, I can only speak to my own experience. I'm realizing though, not a lot of parents have alarm clocks for their kids. And some of that's because of technology. We use our phones now, but get your kid an alarm clock. That's a great way to help them out and learn some responsibility of hey, they're waking up at 7 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. The clock's going to go up. You got to get out of bed. And if you don't get out of bed, and don't put it next to their head, put it across the room. So if they're going to try and snooze it, they got to get it.
They got to get it.
Yeah. We've also gotten my son into his Under Armour. He sleeps in it sometimes if we have to get up really early. So literally it's just wake up, grab the snack, get in the car. Everything's already packed. It's in the car. You got to know you're a kid, right? I also know kids, Christy and Mike, that jump out of bed because it's hockey time.
Yeah.
5:30. So everyone's a little bit different with that. But gear, parents.
Yeah, now's the time. You're mid-season.
You don't need hand, foot, mouth.
You're in the home stretch, right?
Just get a fireman pole. Just get a fireman pole down to the garage.
Yeah, just like
you definitely, when your kids are teenagers, you definitely have to think about some room that is separate from your house. It's your garage, build an addition, whatever. You do not want that in
Send in the prep school. Let somebody else deal with it. That's
even better.
And those of you that have the equipment in the living room, God bless you. I'd like to say thank you to my mother and father for about a decade of that. I don't know how they let me do that. But yeah.
So now I'm going to toss it to you guys to talk about our next topic about just, mentally, it can get a little tough this time of year, mid-season. You're dealing with all kinds of issues. It's like, oh, maybe your team is losing. It's frustrating for you. You want out. So you guys tackle those topics about just kind of getting through that final push of the season.
Yeah, well, I was going to say this. Look, at this time of the year, there's several positions you might be in as a team, right? You might be top of the table. You might be struggling. You might be in the middle. It's a great time just to reevaluate from a coaching standpoint with the parents and the kids. All right, listen, we're kind of entering the second half. All right, this is where we're at. This is what our goals are going to be. Coaches, I would say this, and Mike, I find this a lot. If you had a grand vision before the season, and let's just say it's not really going the way you thought, it's okay to pivot and kind of change that or add to it or take away from it. I find sometimes coaches get a little sheepish with that because it seems like a failure. And I don't think it is. I think the failure is if you don't adapt. Great coaches will adapt to the situation that they're in. And look, this kind of goes both ways too. Let's say you're almost undefeated right now. Now's not the time to get complacent about it. Right. And your kids are coming back from a break, holidays, families, parents, no school, back to school. There's just a lot mentally going on right now. And again, if you guys are like me, this time of year is I always like the first week of January, not because it's just the new year, but you kind of resume normalcy. You get back into your routine a little bit. You breathe, right? So allow your teams to breathe a little bit, have that kind of mid-season meeting, talk to the parents, talk to the kids of, all right, the next few weeks, months, this is kind of the outlook. We did good with this. We didn't do good with this. And this is how we're going to adjust to move forward, right? Mike, you on the same page with that? Or you have different thoughts?
Yeah, well, my main thought is most coaches don't have a plan, so they don't even have to worry about screwing it up. So
Yeah.
I
know
think
who you are.
you know who you are,
Raise your hands.
and the parents that are listening know who those coaches are, because they're in chaos right now. There's no plan, there's no system. Whether you're winning or losing, your top line players are happy, your kids that aren't playing aren't happy.
Right.
And it's the silly season, right? It's when you start seeing literally on social media, every single scroll is spring tryouts, winter tryouts, pre-evaluation, evaluation camp, pre-ID, free
AAA
ID
All-Star
camp.
Elite Showcase.
And yeah, it's not even the elite stuff. It's just the money grab stuff. It's like, 9 different travel programs in a rink that has 4 kids. So it's like, to me, this is the time of year you definitely can reflect. If you're with your team, this is the best time to pivot, actually, because you can create the environment you want by manipulating what's the word? I keep using that word, and everybody keeps getting on me, but not manipulating, but encouraging and maneuvering, so that you can now write the narrative that you want as you go through the rest of the season. So if you're in a losing situation and you're a parent with a kid, you can be okay, listen, we're not winning. The team's not doing that well. Let's start thinking about your own individual goals, and let's start thinking about what you can do to contribute to help the room shift. Like the one thing I hear the most out of kids, and I'm talking about like teenagers to say like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds that have that have a lot of comments about losing, right? Nobody's making comments when they're winning. Everybody's like, oh yeah, everything's great. But when you're losing, all of a sudden they start nitpicking. Oh, I heard this guy could coach, or we should have got this guy as the coach, or this kid is a cancer in the locker room. And what I'm always trying to encourage all the kids that I work with is like, be the person in the locker room that goes against that narrative. It says, hey, you know what? I know we're all talking bad mouthing the coach, but maybe if we did this differently, the coach would do this differently. And and who can manipulate that and maneuver that and influence that the most? You, parents, the people that are in the room with the mature people in the room. And this is maybe where the car ride to the rink becomes more important, because now you have to, and Lee does this on a regular basis, creating those mantras to give to your kids and putting their heads so that they come into the environment in a positive way, rather than, oh my God, remember the last 3 weeks of losing? Like we've lost so much, and this stinks and that stinks. Instead of saying, you know what, son, daughter, when you go into the rink today, there's 3 things I need you to do when you walk in the locker room. Smile at the coach, thank your teammates for what a great day you're going to have. And even if it's quirky and stupid and it doesn't fit where you are in the season, it's the same adage, right? You create who you want to be. So why can't that happen from the player? And why can't that be encouraged and influenced by the parent?
I love that. Because parents, you're not just raising kids, you're raising adults. Don't forget that. From
8 up. And look, here's other things you might not pay attention. Mike, you bring up some really good points. I'm kind of hyper aware of who's been sick, who's missed games, and is now healthy, right? I wouldn't do this when they're sick. I kind of tell my kid, hey, that kid was sick last week and he missed. Just say hi to him and welcome back. These are just little seeds I'm planting for the future of, hey, we have to think about other people too. And I've said it before, great people make great players. All right. So I'm always looking for those little things that they can do. And Mike, the key word here is just accountability, right? If your team's losing, parents, I always say this too, and I coaches as well, try not to be the finger pointer. All right. Try and find the solutions, because you're going to teach your kid that, yeah, this situation sucks. And maybe there is a way of, sometimes there is, it's that person's fault in your mind, but that's not going to help your kid learn how to be accountable. It's, yeah, we're having a tough time. This situation's happening. Here's how we can try and deal with that. Or parents, how do you think we should deal with it? And let them talk. I hear it all the time, and I'm guilty of this as well, of just telling my kid, this is how you deal with that. And I should be asking more, how do you think we should deal with this?
Yeah. How do you feel about this?
Yeah.
8 out of 10 times, they kind of have the right answer. I've never had my kids say, well, I think we should make them feel worse for screwing. They don't say that. right? So,
Well, I
that's
think
one.
conversely too,
Yeah.
because I'm you got to remember, I come from a place where I'm not really used to being in a losing environment this time of year. I'm
Right.
mostly winning.
Nobody in the
So
New York, Connecticut area
so
is used to losing. Even if when you haven't won a World Series in 10 years, you're still not used to losing. It's
yeah,
amazing.
we're never losing. We're never
You're
losing.
never losing in New
We're never
York.
losing. We're learning, right? And I
We're
think
lifelong learners.
And I
Right.
think so. So think about it. If you're the parent in the car, right, and you're listening to this, and you're with your son or daughter, and you're on the winning team, you're the kid that's the Connor Bedard, the kid that's like we were joking around. Like if you're watching the World Juniors right now, you'll see this kid Connor Bedard,
Yeah.
who the strategy for the Canadian team is just to put Connor Bedard out. Like,
get him
hey,
the
what's your
puck.
strategy?
Yeah,
for
and it's
overtime?
working, Mike.
Well, just
It's
play
working.
him the whole time. How about that?
Yeah.
That's my strategy. So
Yeah.
think about this as you're a player and you're in a winning team. There's got to be kids on the team that aren't contributing to the wins. I'm telling you right now, there are kids that are getting sat. They're not playing. They're a backup goalie. Even at 10, 11 years old, this is another great time as a parent that you can influence your son or daughter to be a positive influence in the locker room. Like, go up and say hello to that kid that's not playing that much. Understand it, because when things do start to go the wrong way, guess who the first one that's going to be chirping you is going to be? That parent and that kid that hasn't played. Because you can't blame them anymore because they're not even contributing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just be aware of every side of the coin, that if we're going to be teaching life lessons and we're going to be using sport as a vehicle for our kids to have success later on, I'm just a firm believer in what goes around comes around. And I think that if you're it's not always equal. It doesn't always equal out. But if you can be the parent that's in the locker room with the winning team right now, you guys are gone, the 63-2. They've won the Thanksgiving tournament, the Christmas tournament, the holiday jamboree. There's other kids on the team that aren't contributing as much as your kid. You need to help make sure that team stays together and unified by deliberately instructing and teaching your children to go out of their way to find those kids. Because they don't, because a lot of kids just don't do that instinctively.
Bravo, Mike Pinelli. Good stuff. Great stuff. Wow, you are just you're on fire today.
Both of you.
I like it.
Christie,
Like I said,
too.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I see it every day, right? And I see like I'm always and to a fault. Like I'm always like, oh, that kid's doing great. That's doing great. But what about this kid who's not doing anything?
Right.
Like how do we keep this kid in the mix?
Mike, I'll give you a great example. And again, speaking from my own experience here, we got to remember this too. Look, the way hockey works, it's, for most kids, look, some kids go up and they're just always the best, whether they're youngest or not. But for most kids, you kind of have that first year of U8, U10, U12, you figure it out, and you might not be great. And then the second year you get used to it, you have a different year. And again, look, might hockey to Bantam hockey is a very different monster. But I remember last year, my son coming up to me and saying, I think I'm the worst one on the team.
Oh.
And it broke my heart. But here's the thing: his teammates and his coaches really made him feel like he was part of the team. And I can't. I mean, I'd have to ask him, but I'm going to say that that's probably a major factor of him continuing to play. And now he's kind of one of the center of attention kids on the team. And he's one of the older kids on the team, and he gets it, right? But that just goes to show you, different years you're going to have different roles. Right? Parents, it's okay if your kid's not a top 6 player on the team. Sometimes it's a great, as Mike said, opportunity of how can you contribute? How can you be part of the team? Maybe you're just going to be a great teammate. All right. And then I'm going to say this too, because I'm kind of saying this is all kind of through rose-colored glasses. Yeah, there's also going to be situations where your kids like that, and the top kids on the team are jerks, or they're cocky because they're teenagers, right? It's part of it. Again, don't point the finger. It's that's how they're deciding to act. Is that how you want to behave? Right. Yeah. And how can you control it? And again, not all teams are equal, as Mike said. There's just bad situations. Right. And parents, if you're in a situation with your kid where you really do feel like an outcast, it's the same approach. Okay, don't point fingers. We're in this situation. We finish what we start. How are we going to figure this out? So, I think the message there is pretty clear. Another thing, guys, I was just thinking about is this is the time of year that we're all going to start hearing this. So Mike, what are you doing next year? What's your plan for next year? Yeah. Christie, where's Sophia going next year? You're gonna start hearing that. No, I know. I'm saying you're gonna start hearing that now, if not very soon. Of just plans for next year. Right. You guys said this last year, and I wasn't expecting it. You said, "Oh, it gets very weird at the end of the season."
It does
I was like,
get so weird.
We're close, and then it got really weird
at
the end of the season.
No,
yeah.
Everybody starts looking the
Right.
past, yeah, it looks very green over in that direction. I
Right.
think we're going to jump there.
It
So
was weird. Yeah, that was the right word. But yeah, that's going to start. You got to kind of prepare. So coaches,
be prepared for that.
yeah, know that conversation starting. You can quell a lot of it being, I think you just, by doing that, you just say, hey, yeah, I know this is the time of year you guys start thinking about this. This is what we're going to try and accomplish on this team for the next few months. And I'd appreciate it, if that when we're at the rink, we don't talk about that. You do the best you can. And then parents, even I, you got to control yourself. Because I was actually thinking that the other day, not in a negative way. I was just kind of looking ahead a little bit. And I realized like, I shouldn't be thinking this right now. This is we're here right now. I need to be focused on this right now and not where my kid's going to be in September of this year now, so just like these little mental preparations.
Unfortunately, they pushed the tryouts for teams up so early now.
Oh, it's right at the end of the season
March
now.
and April. So you really can't put it on the back burner.
Right.
You do have to start thinking, if my kid wants to try out for that team, tryouts are in the end of March. So
I'm just saying there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
it might not be with the other parents at the game, on Saturday. That's all I'm saying. Everyone's got to do that their own way though.
Yeah.
The
other thing I think parents need to think about is unstructured play for the kids. I don't know, sometimes there were some holiday seasons that were very hectic for us. We didn't get any break at all. We were traveling, doing holiday tournaments. And it just seemed like it was just so monotonous. And the kids were just, go, go, go. And everything is so structured. Find a pond, go out and play, have some fun. Just let them cut loose on the ice and enjoy skating and just having fun. It's such a nice break.
And Mike says this the best every time we talk about it. It's, coaches, you can sacrifice most of the time a practice to let your kids have some fun on the ice. There's no power play skill or tactic that you're going to teach in one practice that's going to save your season, most likely. Again, there's a time and a place, right? But hopefully some of you have done that during the holidays, right? If you've played in 100 tournaments over the holidays, now is actually a great time just to kind of let them have fun out there, or maybe something not hockey related. This is, again, we do a lot of team building with the teams I'm involved with. And this is the time of year, I would say it with at least the 8-9-year-olds. Now is when it really starts to pay off, and you can see it. You can see the kids are really bonded now, as you enter January from 3 to 4 months of that team building. That's why I think it's so important, because I think I personally believe that's a necessity if you want to win or succeed.
Right.
Anyway.
That team bonding especially so important as you get into the home stretch and you're doing tournaments and
they play for each other.
I think based on our listenership too, there's so many regions that we hear from that, you have these baked in pond hockey, out ODR, level experiences right at your fingertips. I mean, give up a practice for God's sakes, and take the split ice and tell the other team, hey, why don't you take the full ice today? It's looking like it's going to be a nice 33-degree day. We're gonna get 12 thermoses of hot chocolate, and I'm gonna and a solo stove and stick it out there, and we're gonna go on the pond. And we're gonna let the kids play, because there's zero. I mean, you would think about like the Winter Classic, and you listen to the people speak about that at the NHL level, right? And some of those guys have never even been on a pond. Like, it's amazing. Like I don't know, I've never skated outdoors before. Like it's so crazy to me. But that's, you want to have a team building experience. You want to have bonding. You want to find a way to get your kids to experience like really great memories that you're still on the ice, you're still they're still getting puck touches, but this is the time of year you have to take advantage of all that opportunity. And if you really are worrying about your team splitting up, this is the time to really try to get them to be together.
And I just want to remind everybody that the Mighty Ducks, coached by Gordon Bombay, skated through the Mall of America in Minnesota, and then they won the Junior Goodwill games against Iceland. But no,
you don't have to have ice, right? You could be on rollerblades, depending on where you are. So, but if you can't be on a pond, then come up with a pond hockey session in Jacksonville, Florida.
Mike, I'm just saying, do not. I'm going to say this very, very poignantly. Okay, do not underestimate how a day of fun can completely change the demeanor of a team. One day, this is one thing. One day of fun can really pivot a ship, or just remind everybody while you're there. Mike, you used the word, or was it Christie used the word monotonous? man, it can get like that. I never want to hear kids say, man, my practices are boring. We're doing the same thing over and over again. By the way, listeners, if you don't follow Mike at Mike Benelli, all right,
Easy.
you're putting stuff on your social media stuff all the time. Like, hey, rope course, this is fun. That is fun. I mean, Mike, one of the things I love about you, I wanted to say this earlier. I just reminded myself by saying that, was that I always appreciated how you kind of make yourself vulnerable of, younger coach Mike did this and older coach Mike does this, right? Because it shows the evolution of, I did these things wrong when I was 23. And now that I have kids and haven't slept in 12 years, I know to do it this way. Right. But Mike is always sharing, here's a creative drill you can do with any age. Right. So they're out there. So coaches, look, you might be exhausted right now, especially youth. You might be completely exhausted. Change it up. Do a fun day, right? Like if you're older, let your seniors plan practice. Maybe that's not a good idea, but just every once in a while, you got to have that fun day in there and just remind them this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words. And I think I do appreciate. So I love putting stuff out that I hope, and I know. Well, I do know that other people follow it and use it because I get so many private messaging of them being scared, like, well, I can't do that. Like, why would I do that? Like, I'm like,
Right.
Why would you do that? Because you could literally, if you create this time of year, literally, I would throw in like a full hour of small area games. That's it, just games. Come up with 6 games that you want to play with your team. Let the kids name like last night.
Age group, right? This is any age group.
All different, any age group. We did at My Little Pony game last night, and the kids had a ball. Like the coaches felt uncomfortable. Like I'm not coaching the My Little Pony girl. Like,
what? I'm sorry. What is that?
Yeah, thank you, Christie.
So it's just tag, but we make the tail of the pony. Yeah, but we make the tag of the pony with a penny. So and the kids have to run around.
It's flag football with tails.
and a funny name and a funny name. So the kids are laughing and crying and
they're into it.
They're into it, and the coaches are embarrassed that they got to actually say it's the My Pony drill. But but it's different than like just sharks and minnows, yeah, kill the carrier, yeah. But just try. But you can do if you watch the best coaches in the world at 16U and 18U and World Juniors and pros, when they want to mix things up, and we don't get to see a lot of this. Social media sites are much better right now with pro hockey, but we don't get to see enough of the fun stuff that they do. Like when a coach just throws out for, they're going to play rugby for 20 minutes. They're going to play the make-believe passing the puck game, the soccer. They don't get to see a lot of this stuff because it's frankly not like glamorous, but it's relief. Like it gives players a place to relax and have fun. Mm-hmm. And we need to do more of that with our youth kids. This is the time of year. You said it, Chrissy. It's monotonous. I went through all these tournaments. I worked on the power play. I worked on the penalty kill. I did all this stuff. Now let's reward the kids. Let's reward the players with a day of play.
Yeah.
And not a day of not developing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You're still
developing. Like I joke around the groups that I work with.
Their creativity.
Yeah. And like I work the same session I would run with our Learn to Play kids. We call it a high performance skill session. I would run with 18U. It's the exact same drills.
Right.
It's just at a different level. And
it's fun in different ways too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fun in different ways. And if you're a coach, like if you're having a monotonous day, if you're having that monotony of practice, like I've never understood, and this is from day one, I've never understood how a coach could be miserable on the ice watching their team play. Like to me, that's your fault. Like that's a you problem. Like how are you miserable? This should be the funnest part of your day. Yeah. So if you love coming to the rink, then put things in place that like you love being around happy, laughing people, then create happy, laughing environments. It's very simple.
I will say this. I had a game last night in an adult league. And this is the first time this happened. There was a kid in the room, literally half my age, right? I could be his dad. It's like really the kind of, I'm at that point now. But I was thinking to myself after, I love coming here still, like I did when I was 10 or 12. I love it. Right? You can't lose that. If you're not feeling that might be, it's okay if you're not feeling it. Things happen, but you got to find it. All right.
You have to find it.
You have to find it. And if you can't find it, you probably have to have a deeper conversation with yourself. But I love going to the rink. I love it. Don't love getting my kid dressed, but I love going to the rink. All right. So
yeah, but that's from a parent's perspective. If you're driving to the rink and you feel that monotony in your head, like if you're like, well, what can I do? Like, well, maybe invite all the kids to your house and play road hockey.
it's a great idea.
You can be the one. Like everything doesn't have to be. Well, the 3 o'clock practice has to be here, and at 4 o'clock it ends, and everybody goes home. Why? Because if you put your kids if you have your kids and you throw them in a gym after they just been on the ice, they will figure out ways to have fun. And we don't have to all bitch about because they're on their phones again. They're on their iPads. They're doing like you create the environment. Now, again, is that easy? No, it's not easy because we all hate each other at this time of year. It's like the parents are like everybody's like, I got my clique over here. And this did you know this guy got invited to the Christmas party and I didn't? And that the coach didn't get any gifts. And I get it all. Understood. But you can now, if you're going to be the bitcher and the moaner, you can also be the person that creates the better environment.
By the way, coaches, I hope you all got great gifts. If you listen to this episode, your coaches should have got great gifts this year. I'm just saying.
My God, please.
Speaking of gifts, this got me thinking. This is the time of year we should start thinking about getting those banquets ready, whether you want to have a formal banquet. Maybe you just want to have one year we had a swimming party. We rented a pool at a local hotel and our banquet was poolside, which was so fun it was a great idea. And thinking about gifts, I just wanted to have a little show and tell today. So this was my son's gift from his coach, Mike Zandri, when he was a bantam. And what this is, it's an actual piece of board from the rink left over.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It has an authentic
kick plate. Yeah.
And he made one for each player. And Joe was his Iron Man utility player, and listed his accomplishments with his number.
Wait, the coach did this for the kids?
Yeah.
Who is this person?
He's amazing. Mike Zandri, if you're listening.
Making us all look bad, Mike Zandri. Mike Zandri, making everyone look bad.
Yeah, Mike's gonna take a sledgehammer to his boards.
I was bitching that I had to make a gift certificate with the printer ink.
Sorry, Christie. That's a
That's
real board. That's awesome.
That's a real board.
And I feel bad that the kids can never play on that rink again, though, because he cut the boards up. But
no, that was leftover stuff, leftover material. But I mean, get creative. Now's the time to start thinking about that. I mean, do you want to give a kid a trophy? He's got 100,000 trophies and just end up in the closet or who knows where. But something like this, I mean, my son has had this,
Christie, I just got this great visual of Mike with a sledgehammer breaking the boards and someone go, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm making it look mean."
I'm getting gifts. I'm making gifts here.
I'm making gifts.
I'm doing a good thing.
Yeah. That's
unbelievable. That guy, Mike.
That's an awesome gift.
It doesn't matter. That's unbelievable. I thought, I thought the one dad that had made us that did us all like the hockey frames out of the hockey sticks was great, but that's unbelievable. That's
that's a next level gift.
Time now to start thinking about that. And what reminded me of that is, we had an email from Sophia's college hockey coach that he's already set the date for their senior brunch and awards and that kind of thing. It's like, oh my gosh, that is coming up so fast.
It's quick.
We've already got the date set. So, before you know it, it's going to be here. And don't wait to the last minute. Start doing it now. Make those reservations. Think creative. Get your parents together. How do we want to end the year? Let's make it memorable for our kids.
And what's nice too, this is great for coaches, when you do assign the parents that you want to do the end of the year banquet and help, and the ones that say, I'm not going to really be around then.
Yeah.
Like that's a good red flag. That helped. Yeah, I got tryouts that weekend for the other.
I got tryouts for the other two. Yeah.
So I can't do it. I'm busy that
just some things to get you motivated to start thinking about now. You really don't want to wait till the last minute. And while you're still somewhat fresh before you get into, the final tournaments and, end of the year stuff and you're really dragging. So do it now.
Well, I'll say team managers
collect the money now and collect the money for the banquet now.
Yeah, y'all got money right now, hopefully. No, but yeah, team managers did something you can delegate right now. Just, hey, we're going to start thinking about this. Do any parents want to help with that? So we're gonna send off in about 3 minutes because Christie's got the greatest excuse ever. Her daughter has a game puck drop here in about 3 minutes, so we want to make sure we get it off. But one final thing I do want to say, a couple quick ones is, one, if you're like me, haven't been eating the best the last month, now is a great time to flip that around and just kind of get back into good nutritional habits. It sounds a little weird the way I'm saying that, but even I'm kind of committed, like, all right, now got to go back to my normal diet. We're not going to eat cake every 3 minutes.
Right.
Last one for me is parents. It's a really good time of year just to kind of check in with your kids from a mental standpoint, hockey aside. Just kind of ask them how they're doing, making sure they're all right. Holidays for some families are a wonderful, wonderful time. That's not true for everybody. It can be incredibly stressful for some families, some kids. Good gauge of that is, are you feeling stressed? All right. If you're feeling stressed, kids probably are too.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's a good time just to, I know it's tough with teenagers, but just, hey, everything all right? You're doing okay? That goes a lot further than you probably think, to check on your kids. And even them just knowing, hey, someone cares, even if they don't talk a lot, is extremely important. So New Year, kind of just check in with your kids mentally, make sure that they're where they want to be. And if not, take appropriate action, make sure that they're coming back to their standards with that as well. I don't know if you guys had anything you wanted to add into that.
No, I mean, I just like I like the fact that we reviewed all this stuff, and it's really timely. And I think, taking some of these actions now, it does come quick. I mean, next thing you know, it's February and then March, and then we're at the season's over, right? So I think just to delegate stuff early, get the end of the season going. Don't forget about the fact that you're still a team for the next 2 months, hopefully more. But really, it's just no matter how you can, you as a coach, if you're listening, or as a parent, you can frame the narrative of how you want your season to end,
right?
No matter what the season looks like right now.
I like the way you put that, framing the narrative, Mike.
Right. And there's time to turn it around. So maybe you fell off the wagon, you've been sloppy, you haven't, done things the way you wanted to. You can fix it now and make the final 2 months really memorable for you and your family. So there's time. You
I'm
can
gonna leave it
salvage
at that.
it.
Yeah, Christie's got 1 minute till puck drop, so we need to get her off here.
Woohoo!
Is this a hockey show or is this a hockey show? We got to get off the show for hockey.
I gotta go. I got a game. Bye.
Yeah, I can't. My kids have hockey. No, look, that's going to do it for this episode. First off, welcome to 2023. It's the 20s, guys. We got to get used to that.
Yay.
All right. Thank you all for being a wonderful audience. This is just kind of episode 1 of the year. And again, we're wishing you all the best, obviously, with the next half of your season leading into the summer. We'll be here with you all year once again. So for Christie Casciano Burns and Mike Benelli, I'm Lee Elias. Thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. And remember, you can get all the episodes at ourkidsplayhockey.com or email us, message us, team@ourkidsplayhockey.com. Episode ideas, questions, thoughts, anything. We love to hear it. One of the three of us will get back to you, or we will forward it to the parent on here that you want to talk to. So with that said, everybody have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time on Our Kids Play Hockey.
Go St. Michael's.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.